Welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I want to show you my next project that's actually a part of my back patio makeover that I'm working on, which I'll be doing a final video of that with everything put together once everything is finished. I just wanted to say today marks an emotional day for me. My oldest graduated from college earlier this morning and she's off doing her own things. Next week, my youngest is going to be graduating from high school and she will be moving out here shortly, here in the next week or so. So I am going to be an empty nester, and I don't know how many of you out there are empty nesters, but you might understand how I feel right now in terms of I'm very emotional. And I can already tell you that I'm going to have to be preoccupying my time. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot of projects around here. One of the projects I'm going to be working on is this bench. This bench, and as part of my back patio makeover that I am currently working on, I am wanting to get rid of this black bench, obviously the lights as well. Hopefully I can reuse these lights somewhere in my back patio makeover, but I am going to replace this bench with a different type of solution. Let me show you what I'm going to be using. My plan is to utilize these stones and utilize, this is a 2 by 12, and I'm not sure how long it is, board. This was a board that we used for our laundry room makeover, which I can go ahead and link that video if you're interested. But my goal is to come up with a solution for a bench that is kind of like a rustic, almost like maybe a Tuscany feel rustic bench. And it's going to be free for me because I already have these materials. I do want to kind of redo this landscaping and tighten up the corners, and pulling some of the stone away from there and shortening it up. So basically just making it a little bit of a shorter garden. And I want to plant my zinnias again in here. I have my clematis growing. Looks beautiful. So with me shortening this bed, I will be able to utilize some of these stones on this side and on this side. I actually do have more stone hidden like behind the gazebo, so I'm probably maybe gonna use some of those too. I'm not sure. But let's see what I can make with this bench. And I will show you my inspiration as well. I'll pop that on the screen of what my inspiration was. So I went ahead and I got these boards set up out here on these sawhorses. I have 2 different boards. One's slightly narrower than the other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rough it up a little bit. I'm going to be using this brush, this wire brush attachment that's going to go onto the drill. So I'll be sanding that down and making ridges and making it look old on here. And then when I'm done with that, then I'll sand it down because I don't want any rough edges for when somebody sits down on this bench. So I actually have 3 of these boards. I'm going to probably go ahead and do at least 2 of them, and I'll either make 2 benches or I will create it in a way that I'll make 1 bench just with a wider seat. Okay, so change of plans for just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get my sander out. This is a 120 grit. I'm going to just sand this down and try to shape it and form it the way I want. The other way, that wire brush wasn't giving me the look I was wanting. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with this and get these sanded. So here we go. I went ahead and got this first board sanded. I want to show you the difference between the unsanded and the sanded. I tried to put a nice curved edge all the way around, and then of course make sure everything was smooth because I do not want anyone sitting on it and getting splinters. Now granted, I am going to stain and seal these because they are going to be outside in the weather. But in the meantime, I'm trying to sand it the best I can. This is the unsanded board. You can see the straight edges, and this one you can see the sanded edges. So I am going to go ahead and continue sanding on this board as well, and then I am going to go ahead and stain them. I'll be right back. I found some of the stain in our cabinets. Okay, so let's see. Oh no, oh, that is to the top. I just made a mess. So let's see what it looks like on this wood. That is a very light color. I think I might like that, but it might be too yellow. I'll be back with you in just a moment. This is what the boards look like stained. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go move those stones into position so I can set either one or two of these boards on the stones. So where we're at in the project right now, I have stained this with 3 different stains already. I started with that first one out in the other garage, but I felt like it was way too light, almost a yellowy color. I did not like that. So then I went to Lowe's and I purchased 2 different stains. This is an aged barrel, and I put that on the table. I still thought that was too light. Then I put on, this is called Early American. So I added that to the table, which I loved. I loved the darker color. So then I felt like it wasn't aged enough. So I came back in and I cut some lines into it, into the sides here and along the sides here. And I sanded it down to give it a more aged look. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to polyurethane this. This is spar urethane, and this is in clear satin. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next on this bench top. So I'm going to wipe this down really well because it's dusty from the sanding, and then use a foam brush. I'm going to add a couple of coats of this urethane. Okay, so I'm finishing up on this layer. I'm just going to do nice long brush strokes. I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then I will come back and put on another coat. And this should be protected as it sits outside year round. What do you think of it so far? I think I'm loving it. And the next time you see me, it will be when I am setting everything up and putting everything together outside in the patio. And this is all part of my patio makeover. I have several things going on, but I wanted to break these up into individual videos so I can show you how I did it, just in case you are interested in doing something like this yourself. If you remember the before, and here is the after. What do you think? So I'm super excited about this. This is all natural, of course. We have the stone. Little story about the stones. Years ago, probably 20 years ago or so, there was a lumber yard type of place that was going out of business, and we bought these stones. I believe it was $70 a pallet, and I want to say there were at least maybe 50 or so on each pallet. So we got a steal on these stone. Let me go ahead, I'll give you an estimated dimension, and I'll pop up on the screen something similar today that I've found. The approximate dimensions of these stones, each one is approximately a 7.5 by 16 by 4 inch. And these stones had been setting out, and you can see there's a little bit of moss on it, which just adds to the character of this stone. If you have watched any of my videos, you know I really enjoy nature, whether it be with my gardens or my chickens. The property that we bought years ago, probably like 20 years ago or more, I've planted over 70 trees in my yard because I just love nature. And I love the wildlife that comes with it. So on this side, I have various pots, basil, some rosemary. I do have lavender growing in this pot. There's also some hens and chicks, and then I also have, it's an evergreen that once it gets big enough, I'll probably plant it out in the yard somewhere. It was found in my garden. The lavender, basil, and rosemary, those are all herbs that are great for trying to deter mosquitoes. Todd and I both love sitting outside. The least amount of bugs and pesky flying creatures that are coming around, especially mosquitoes, the better. But this bench is super heavy duty. It's nice and wide. We can either set things on it, or people can actually have a seat on this. You could probably easily fit 2 to 3 adults and possibly 4 or so children if we need some more seating. I don't want to show you the rest of my pool deck yet because this was one of many little projects that I'm doing around the back patio and pool deck area, and that's going to be a comprehensive video in the future. Oh, and I have not forgotten about this space up here. That was an incident that Todd pushed the grill a little bit too close to the house, melted the siding. So I do have a project that I know I'm going to do. I haven't quite figured out and tweaked in exactly what I'm going to do, but I have some ideas, and that's going to be one of my empty nest projects. So when I know, and I will keep you posted. Check off one of my empty nester projects. We got this one in the books. Let me know what you think of this project, and I want to thank you for watching. That is a wrap. Until next time.